Okay, we are reconvening to the open session of the regular meeting of the Fairview District 72 Board of Education. It's November 19th, 2025 at 7:09. We have already established that we have a quorum. I'd like to request all members of the public to be respectful of everyone at the meeting. Please ensure you silence your cell phones and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, okay. All right. One adjustment really quick to tonight's agenda. There will be a second closed session at the end of the meeting. No action will be taken. Just wanted to let you all know. All right, we're going to start with approving of minutes of the regular and closed meetings of October 15th, 2025 and November 12th, 2025. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thanks. Any concerns or questions or comments? No. Well, all those in favor of approving the minutes of October 15th, 2025 and November 12th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. Nope. Okay. Minutes are approved. No. Can I get a motion and a second to approve payment of bills? Yes, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. And $961,255.47. Any questions regarding the bills?
No.
All right, Board Secretary, can you please call roll call vote?
Yes. Kasaja Philip.
Here.
Esther Tamura. Diane Diakakis.
Yes.
Christine Soika.
Yes.
Jacqueline Boujde, yes.
All right, bills are approved. Parent Teacher Appreciation Association report. Hi, Sylvia.
It's a little long, so I apologize.
Okay.
We had a very busy month. We kicked off October with our Home Fund Investment parties that went really well. We also hosted one of our newly Halloween blankets to see and the whole team graciously takes over. Sorry.
They kind of took over as PTA. They just asked us for a budget that we would contribute, and then they kind of run with it. We've got great feedback. I think the community loves that there is an option for that team. So thank you to them. I know it's a lot of work because they say afterwards. It's usually held on the same day that we did. We usually have gone before and seen it, but if you guys haven't, it's an awesome thing. We've also held our very successful Halloween PTA party. This party usually does really, really well. This actually helps fund the rest of our PTA events throughout the year. So a huge thank you to all of you guys. I know a lot of people are there working. So I do appreciate a huge thank you to the community that always comes out and always shows up and supports us. We appreciate it. Our annual book fair is coming up. It will be December 3rd and 4th. We are opening up the Thursday evening for the public and the community to shop. Parents and kids can come in, buy some really fun books. Kids love tchotchkes. They make great stocking stuffers. I did that last year. We are ending the year with our winter classroom parties, which is Friday, December 19th for primary grades. And last but not least, we've been actually having a fundraiser with needs and wants for pies. Tomorrow is the last day to order. I myself have ordered 6 pies. They are really, really good. If you've never had their pies, they're actually really good. You guys can do it online. It's, I think, on email. And you can order them. They have different pickup times throughout the week. So that's all. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great break. Thank you.
All right, next item is school activity report. Does anyone from the board or administration have good news they'd like to share?
I just told them that I'll get the boring stuff out of the way first. After we sent the board memo about the tax delay, we actually got a notice from the county that the tax bills were sent out. So November 15th, they went out. Sorry. But hopefully, again, like we've been struggling this year with cash flow because we haven't got any tax revenue. And so the hope is that the first 2 weeks of December is when we'll start to see some revenue come in from local tax dollars, which is a big deal. And we'll get to that more later, but that's good news.
To piggyback on what Sylvia said, we had Halloween light since the last time we met on October 24th, and it was wonderful to have our preschool families and our students with special needs come and have an opportunity to participate in a time that was more successful for them. Shout out to Sandra Ricity and Katie Doyle and Jenny Marin and Lucky Thatch and Alicia for all of their hard work. It was a lot of work, but it was wonderful. We had a great turnout. We had lots of families come, and it was a wonderful time. And we're looking forward to doing it again next year.
Thank you.
Hello, I've got good news for primary and middle school. Mr. LaPaca is down at the other end of the building with Niles West and 8th grade parents right now, so he will be here shortly. But for primary, this week, we started the second trimester. So that means for us, report card preparation, parent-teacher conference preparation. So teachers have been working really hard and making sure they're getting all of that prepared for all of our families. We do have several field trips right around now, which we love field trips here in experiential learning, as I always say. So last week, 1st grade went to Emily Oaks, 3rd grade went to the Skokie Public Library, and tomorrow our 2nd graders are going to the Museum of Science and Industry. So we love going out and seeing things, which is wonderful. We also wrapped up the Read to Succeed program partnering with the Chicago Wolves, and we have the final numbers in, and there's a bulletin board in the main hallway, and we read 558 hours, which is a lot of hours in a fairly short amount of time. For middle school, student council has been very busy. They went to Feed My Starving Children a couple of weeks ago, and if you've never been there, it's a really great organization and just teamwork type of atmosphere where you work to then send food to like third world countries where students, their kids really don't have food. So they do that every year. That was really great. They also just wrapped up the Tackle Hunger food drive, and we sent this morning, I think, like over 20 boxes of food and non-perishable items to the Niles Township Food Pantry. So it's just great because that's going to be helping the people in our community. So that was really wonderful. This Friday is Snowflake for our 7th graders, and that really is kind of an SEL focused day for students. They have 8th grade mentors. They really focus on just building that community and connection and, just having that time together to kind of find out more about themselves. And it really pulls them all together. I think that's a really great experience. A lot of people are involved in it. And we actually have some people from the organization that are going to come on Friday to observe because they've heard about our program and seen what we do. So that's really, I feel like, says a lot about our teachers and staff and, the reputation that we have. So and we are just looking forward to next week, Thanksgiving, but more before that, seeing so many people at parent-teacher conferences. We hope you're able to come see your teachers, and we just hope everybody has a really wonderful Thanksgiving break with your families. Thank you. Any questions?
We continue to send reports home electronically. I hope you're all getting them, the IAR, ISA, MAP, and soon to be report cards on Friday. So it's great. From my end, we can see the reporting of who's gotten it, who hasn't gotten it, who's opened it. I'm happy to say that 100% of our parents are getting the reports. Whether or not they're opening the reports is another thing, but that's, whatever. Secondly, recently was able to attend a 3-day Power School conference, focusing on MBA reports is what we use for our report cards and a lot of other reports. It was great. 8 to 10 hours a day of Power School is a little much, but the training I received there was just top notch. Came back right away, started making new reports for Karen and Mike. We're using that stuff right away. So well worth the time and cost. So thanks.
All right. Next item is our board discussion. Superintendent, please introduce the reports to the board.
Sure. The first is the first reading of our next batch of board policies for the board to review. I have changed it up a little bit so that the policy, you can just click on it and that will take you to the policy and you can read it. I've provided a summary and if there are any other extra notes that board members should be aware of as they look through the policies. So like I do with every first reading of board policies, I'm just putting it out there for all of you. I would encourage you to look at them so that next month we can move forward with approval. But there are no new policies here. They're just, changes, slight changes in the law, or, small things for just improving the readability of the policies and whatnot. So there's not too much for me to report there. Are there any questions? Sort of, I think you all are kind of into the usual routine with board policy work at this point. So, but it is important work, and I encourage you to take a good look at all of the policies there. Next up is the superintendent's report. And since we last met, have a lot of great stuff going on, as you just heard from the admin team and the PTA. We are really looking forward to the book fair. It's a lot of work, but it's something that the kids really look forward to, and having an evening opportunity for parents and children. And we do get some community members who will come over and take a look to see what they might purchase, and just encouraging that love of reading is just, such an important goal for us here at Fairview. In addition to that, we are continuing to work on our reading curriculum implementation. We have built-in professional development opportunities on Mondays that relate to the reading curriculum, so teachers are kind of getting that staff development on an ongoing basis. We spent a good amount of time during our October Institute Day training teachers as well. It's hard. Implementing a new curriculum is hard, and it's requires a lot of work, and year one is really challenging. Year two gets a little bit easier, but I think they're doing a really good job across the board and really putting in a lot of effort to try to do their very best. So we will try to continue to support that work in any which way that we can. So that's, we were very happy as school employees to see the tax bills go out. Not so happy as homeowners necessarily, but ouch. But that is very good. Some of our colleagues in neighboring districts did have to go through the process of borrowing money in the event that they didn't receive the money. And we talked long and hard about that, and, are feeling that we're going to be fine. But borrowing money costs money, a lot of it, depending on how much you're borrowing, as you know, and there are fees associated with that. So very frustrating that our county could not get their act together to do this in a way that was efficient and on time, because now school districts on the backs of the taxpayers are paying to borrow money because of a glitch with technical systems. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but hopefully they have that straightened out. My hope is once they receive the tax money that they are able to then send it out in an efficient way, more efficient than the bills themselves. But anyway, we had our top workplace celebration this week. So we celebrated with a special treat for the staff. And, there are always ongoing student issues, especially this time of year. We see that the holidays sometimes bring out big emotions for students and for staff. So just working hard to support everybody and providing them what they need. So any questions on my report? No, that's all I had.
All right, next item is our board committees and representatives. Jackie, any updates for NTDSE?
No, I'll have one next month.
And then Christine, any additional for PTA? Okay, perfect. Freedom of information. Regarding the Freedom of Information Act, I can report that there was one Freedom of Information Act received since the last board meeting, and it was addressed. We currently do not have any submissions for information items and correspondence. And we will move on to public comment. At this time, I'd like to invite members of the audience to address the board in public comment. Public comment period is designed to gain input from the public and not for immediate response by the board to the questions or comments presented. If you wish to address the board, please come to the microphone, state your name. A 3-minute time limit will be set. The board secretary will keep time.
I close this.
Okay.
There were also no online public comments tonight, and Mr. LaPaca has made it, but we already heard all about the great things in the middle school. So we're glad you're here.
All right, our action items for today: adopt the 2025 tentative tax levy. May I get a motion in a second to adopt the 2025 tax levy?
So moved.
I'll second.
And Mr. Fair will provide a brief presentation on the tax levy for all of you this evening. Thank you, Jeff, for putting this together for us.
Very brief. Thank you, everyone. So every year we do the tentative levy in November and the final levy in December. Typically, when we have our increases under 5%, which I'll get to in a second, but this is common practice for the district. This is a big deal for the district because 78% of our money comes from local property tax. If we include CPBRT, almost 86% because we're local property taxes and corporate tax. So this is a big deal for the district as it is the biggest ask that we have in the year as far as revenues go. The important distinction to make, if you've ever have anyone come up to you and want to talk tax levy, which I'm assuming everyone does, right, Sash? No, yeah. Tax levy is what we're asking for, and we're limited by what we can ask. Tax extension is what actually is sent to the taxpayers, and that's set by the county. We don't determine that. The property tax extension limitation law limits how much we can ask to the lower of CPI or 5%. So this year's CPI is set at about 2.9%. So we're asking for 2.9%, and new property is excluded from that, but we'll get it. That's a limited amount. So we're going to be right around 3%. Taxes are calculated. So we have the prior year's extension, which is the amount that we receive or will receive soon, added CPI on top of that. And there's certain things that are excluded from that, but the gist of it is that we can only ask about CPI, one plus CPI from the previous year. There's a historical look at CPI and where it's been. We had some lean years back in 15 and 16, saw some spikes in 22 and 23. And again, like I said, it's 2.9% this year. The projected next 3 years are based on a rolling average. What we're seeing right now for 26 is about 3.2. But that's going to depend. There's a lot of time to go until that'll be settled in the next month and a half. This is the property valuation. The property valuation is a very complicated process. Your property is valued, then it's equalized to bring it to 1/3 of the market value. Then it's Cook County. They really complicate things a great deal to make it really hard for you to understand. So we have the EAV of the district, which is what's called our tax base. We have a healthy tax base because we have a lot of corporate property in our district, about 50%. And those are often assessed at a higher value. This year is the triennial reassessment in North Cook County, which means in 2025, all of the property will be reassessed. In years like that, we've seen anywhere from a 10 to 18% increase in our EAV, which is good for the district because we're limited in how much we can ask. A spike in EAV will likely bring tax rates down. I say likely because the math, if it works out, that'll bring tax rates down. Here's a breakdown of our district. Again, a large commercial industrial tax base. There is a breakdown of Niles Township. Again, we don't have the final 2024 tax rates out. Again, we're waiting on that when the tax bills get posted. And 2023, the tax rates, and it'll be similar this year as well, but we're the second lowest tax rate in the township. Culver is below us, but at 2.148, we have a very low cap tax rate. That's what's within the tax cap. And then our debt service is in that non-cap. So at 2.319 total, we are very low. The next lowest, I believe, is 68 at 2.762. There's a look at our EAV over the years. 2025, again, we're projecting about a 10 to 11% jump because of the reassessment. The next 3 years are a rolling average, and again, a jump in the next reassessment, 2028. There's a look at the relationship between EAV extension and tax rate. And again, this is something that gets jumbled when people talk about it, is they think that the district is asking for more money. We are limited in what we can ask. It really is heavily dependent on the EAV and how the property is assessed in the county. There's a look at the timeline. As you notice, the big question marks there were the final tax rate report, which we generally get in June or July, and we still haven't received it. It's a big reason why our audit isn't completed yet either. We've asked for an extension, so we're good with that. We'll likely have it in the next couple of weeks, which we'll present to the board in December. The final levy will be approved in December and then submitted to the county clerk. And then we'll start the process again in the spring. And our first tax bills, if we get back to the traditional calendar, we'll receive the first tax bills for the 2025 levy in the spring, likely March or April. And there's a look at our ask for the year. Sorry about the crazy looking chart there, but a 3.06%. The first column is what we actually extended this past year. The middle column is the levy. That's the projection. We go up to 4.99%. The reason we go to 4.99% is because if we go 5% or above, we have to have a public hearing. We've generally tried to stay below that in years the CPI is under 5%. And the projected extension is what I project we're actually going to get. And that's that 3.06%. Again, that 4.99% is our capped extension. That doesn't include our debt. New property is a very small percentage. We've gotten very little new property in the last 4 to 5 years. I think there was 1 year, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago, we had 0 new property in the district. It's an important reminder that the district's requesting money is not the driver of higher taxes. Again, talking point for everyone. And then the allocation of levy between funds, what we try to do is we try to ask for money based on our budgeted expenditures, but also to bring our fund balances in line with each other to make sure they're close to the same percentages and keep the same fund balance there. So I'll balance everything out to make sure they're even, or try to. And we also have on the website levy and tax bill calculations if anyone wants to figure out their tax bill. Fun for everyone. And that's it. If there's any questions?
Zero property taxes, that coming from because of the commercial or residential? Zero.
You mean the 0 new property?
New
Yeah, I mean, it's typically because we don't have any, there's nowhere to build, or we don't have commercial property. It also is like in the reassessment years, we don't get a lot of change. And there's not much, I mean, in our district, there's nowhere to really construct anything. We have everything built up here, and there's things that are being built right now, but there's usually a 1 to 2 year lag when they come on the tax roll. So there's some buildings on TUI, some commercial property on TUI, but we won't see that come on the tax bills till they're completed. And then there's a little bit of a lag because it's new property. So it'll be like 2 to 3 years probably. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Next item is items for future consideration. Does anybody have anything? I have 2, but do you have any? No? Okay. Just wanted to ask if we can revisit the 7th grade outdoor ed trip, potentially something for them. I know it was asked about the overnight stuff, but if we could do even like a day thing, like the 6th graders, I think that'd be
I just met
awesome.
with Miss Reeve, our 6th grade, filling the shoes of Wendy Massoff, which is a big thing.
Yes.
So I just met with her to talk about it, and we opened up the door to conversations with Camp Timberley to see what dates they have for like the day trips.
Okay.
So usually they fill the overnight trips with schools that do like 2 nights, and then they couple those with day trips, and so we'll know what they have available. So sure. Yeah.
Okay. I think that'd be nice. And then the second,
I'm sorry, just to
yes.
clarify. So I think what she's asking is, can we do a day trip for 6th grade and for 7th?
Oh, 8% was,
Yes.
6th graders went last year. So
Oh,
they
it would be the
separated
same
out
trip.
and went.
Yeah.
So that would be the same trip. To Camp Timberley.
but can we establish like a 6th grade trip and a 7th grade trip? The 8th graders have like a beautiful year
Yeah,
here.
yes.
They have a lot, but at least, I remember going to White Pines when I was here, and it was an amazing memory.
Yeah,
I just feel like it's something that we should consider bringing back.
Yeah, that team, I can speak with that team. The 7th grade team shifted from Springfield, which was many years ago, and then it was Springfield for 1 day, which was too much.
Yeah.
Too long. And then they did like an exploration of Chicago based on culture. And then they stopped kind of when COVID did, and they haven't returned. So I can bring it up to that team.
Yeah.
Team is different, so they would probably need to lean on others that have gone and kind of talk about what. A couple of them were there, so they should remember what we did. So yeah, that might be connected if you're a little bit more than something
Yeah.
that would be like outdoor education.
Just so,
So you're asking not necessarily for an outdoor ed trip, but for something that would connect to the curriculum for 7th graders. That would be
yeah,
a
so they can have
special-
something special. 8th graders have special, 6th graders have it now,
Yeah, 7th grade, they go to the Chinese Acrobat show. That's kind of like their one staple because it fits into when they're doing that vision of the world in social studies. But that's local, so that's
Sure.
really local. So something additional would be, I'd be open to that with that team to see if they have ideas for sure.
anyone have any?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true too.
Yeah,
If you can just see what the teachers feel or the kids, I think,
I love
We-
going on those trips because I
It's
like
fun.
experiencing. No, yeah, you see them in a different light and their
yeah.
kids rise to the occasion for different things that they
Yeah.
they go see, so for sure.
And then the second item, I just wanted to circle back to the lunches. I know we're gonna send out like a community, community survey just to kind of see how people feel about the lunches and whatnot. So just wanted to circle back to that.
Yeah, so just the update since last month, because it was brought up last month as well. You know, we're kind of at a crossroads of, you know, we are members, we participate in the National School Lunch Program, which provides funding to our school to provide lunches. And it really subsidizes those children that are free on the free or the reduced lunch. So I think we need to look at the amount of money that comes from that, the district's budget, as well as potentially asking parents how much they're willing to pay, and see how that all fits together. Because I think it's a little bit unfair to ask parents, what would you like the lunch program to look like? What do you want? If then the answer is going to be, well, that's great, but the district only has this much to put towards school lunches, or, you know, this is the benefits of the school lunch program. So I think, like, I would like to get some of those financial questions answered, and Jeff is already working on that, to kind of know, like, what we can ask parents about, and, you know, without giving false hopes, of, you know, some grand changes, that may not be financially feasible at this moment. So, you know, I hear you. I know that school lunch is always a hot topic. And yet I just am really, I don't know, I struggle with putting a survey out, carte blanche, what do you want to change, when I know that there are financial ramifications that we need to consider. And I think we should consider that first. So, so let us do that homework, and find out what we're talking about, and in terms of the finances, and then go from there.
I think I know the answer. So is the funding that we get, I imagine that there are sort of contingencies on what we need to offer and have in order to get that funding.
Yep. The National School Lunch Program has a lot of rules and regulations that are intended, and they do serve a purpose in that the food being served to children is proportioned properly. It's health, you know, it has certain ingredients and nutrients, and so it's very prescribed. So, you know, when a parent says, oh gosh, I wish we could have this, sometimes we have to say, no, it's not allowable with the National School Lunch Program. And then the parent will say to me, well, why do we do that? Well, because there's a financial implication. So it's a little more complicated than just serving people and asking them what they want.
So that makes sense. I figured there was a relation to funding and the guidelines.
And just from an equity standpoint of, you know, we do have parents in the community that probably would be happy to pay any dollar amount for their kids to have, you know, really fun, hot meals, whatever, you know, that they want, but there are also parents in the community who can't. And so how do we kind of bridge that gap, and so that all the children have the same opportunities?
Is the free or reduced, is it around 30? I thought you saw.
Jeff, the percentage of students on free and reduced lunch at this point?
It goes between 30 and 35%.
Yep, 30 to 35. Thank you. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, at this time, I will need a motion and a second to go into closed session at 7:38 PM for the following matters, personnel matters. May I have a motion in a second? So moved. Esther? Roll call. Yeah, okay. Board Secretary, can you please take a roll call vote?
Yes, Jacqueline Boucher, yes. Saja Philip,
Yes.
Sarah Tomoda, Diana Diakakis.
Yes.
Christine Soika.
Yes.
Esther Tomoda.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody. They're going to go to closed session. They'll come back briefly to adjourn the meeting. There won't be any action, because there's none listed on the agenda. So, you know, no need to stay unless you want to visit with each other. Okay, thank you. Have a happy week next week.